My name is Ty Hamill. I'm the Roadside Vegetation Management Biologist for Story County Conservation as part of our integrated Roadside Vegetation Management Program. The concept of IRVM was to eliminate as much of the costs in fuel and herbicides of the late 80s and 90s when everything was just getting blanket sprayed, everything was brome, everything was just shoot all the weeds. Brome is, the pretty monoculture, but at that time when fuel kind of went up, they started looking at other ways and means of, managing roadsides. So that's kind of when IRVM started. But basically, there's all sorts of other benefits for, wildlife, erosion control, nutrient runoff, aesthetics, a lot of they call it like highway days or something, when it's just monoculture brome ditches out there, you're driving and there's nothing to look at and, you kind of trance off driving. So we really believe kind of in the mission of IRVM, so we get really excited looking at Prairie and talking about seed and, equipment and things like that. And, a lot of the spots that, we hide your seed, that's just one little culvert, we'll come back in a couple of years and it'll just be solid compass plants and switchgrass and blazing star and just like some really, really cool flowers out there. So like I said, we really get excited, about roadsides.
Ty, tell us a little bit about Story County Roadsides.
So a lot of roadside programs utilize the TAP seed program through the LRTF DOT, which is a huge resource for a lot of counties because a lot of the native grasses and forbs can get really expensive. So one thing that's really unique to Story County is we actually have a 1972 John Deere combine with a couple of harvesters, and we work with local citizens here within Story County that have some remnant prairies as well as planted prairies. So we combine between 350 and 400 pounds of native grass seed throughout the county each fall. And all that goes back into the roadsides as a resource for Story County citizens. So I think one of the unique parts is kind of the history of the Story County Roadside Program. We were, I think, the third one off the board back in 1987. So we really have a storied history here with planting roadsides and developing the program here for citizens in Story County.
That's amazing. When will you start harvesting some of these native plants from these remnants?
So just like other crops here in Iowa, they grow throughout the summer and then fall, kind of once everything's kind of ready to go. Usually October, it kind of depends on the weather and when kind of the rain shuts off, but usually October into November is when we would start combine harvesting as well as hand harvesting throughout sites with volunteer groups and other conservation staff throughout the county. So we combine harvest grass seed, and then for forb seed, we hand harvest a lot of that throughout the summer. So that's our staff, seasonal staff, other conservation board staff, and that all gets put in our seed room to be processed later. We also do a lot of outreach programs in the fall as far as hand harvesting. It is a very popular event. We also partner with Alluvial Brewing for a happy hour harvest. That's one of our most popular, for reasons you could probably imagine. But we can get 25 to 35 people out there, in the evening, and then harvest a lot. A lot of our forb seed comes from a couple events in the fall. It's pretty cool.
Ty, give me a sense of the size and scale of managing the roadsides in Story County.
So in Story County, for our roadside program, we manage a little over 900 centerline miles throughout Story County. So we are one of the big ones. We don't have a big town or a big lake or anything to take up roads, so we manage quite a bit, all the way from Story City in the corner, all the way down to Collins in the other corner. So
900 miles. Wow. How do you get it all done?
So our staff here consists of myself and one full-time staff, and then we hire 2 spring/summer seasonals, and then depending on workload, we will also potentially hire a fall seasonal. So we stay pretty busy.
What's keeping you busy this time of year?
So right now we're brush spraying. We're doing a lot of fall mowing. We're getting ready for some fall burns. Now that everything's kind of stopped growing, we are putting mowing in fire breaks. So that makes it a little easier for us to start and stop fires. Again, kind of maintenance mowing. We'll be fall spraying for weeds again here, another little round, and just kind of starting on some of the maintenance of the equipment we've been using all summer.
Tell me a little bit about the equipment rentals that are available to landowners in Story County.
We have a Great Plains drop seeder. We'll also rent out the Vicon, so that goes on the back end of a tractor, and you can drive right down the middle of a ditch as long as the seed bed's prepped, and that just flings seed kind of right out of the back of it. A lot of times we'll lay down seed with that, and then we'll come back with like a cultipacker or kind of a harrow, and then that kind of really, that's nice and heavy, so that just kind of puts that seed right into the ground, and we get good seed to soil contact. So it's another piece of equipment you utilize a lot, and it works slick. I think I just did my report to the supervisors. I think we had 36 times from July 1 last year to June 30th, just this last summer. So 30 something rentals. I think they planted like 380 some acres on private land. So a lot of those are natives, and those are can also be cover crops. So like waterways, things of that, some pasture mixes, you know, so we stay busy just with equipment rentals in the spring and then in the fall. You know, for some of the equipment rentals we do, some folks don't have a new or big enough truck to handle the tongue weight on some of these equipment. So we also deliver and pick up too with our equipment rental program.
Do you do much for tree removals and brush management?
Lion's share of tree and brush removal and trimming is all done by secondary roads. So that was the opposite of Cerro Gordo. We would do all the brush, tree trimming, removal, everything. And that was what we did all winter. But here in Story County, the only brush work we do is spot spraying. So secondary roads does a lot of the mechanical. We have, you know, contractors do 5 townships a year. That kind of keeps our head above water, but then we'll spot spray stuff that falls in the cracks, or our contractors, they're aware of our sensitive areas, and we'll go in and we'll do those ourselves.
Ty, I want to thank you for your time here today and sharing with us all about integrated roadside vegetative management and the roadsides in Story County.